previous conviction. And further, it also allows, it gives some power even despite of being these exception. What are those? If a person, if an accused is a woman, a sick or infirm, or not more than 16 years of age, despite of being those two exceptions, the accused may be granted, may be released on bail. Okay. Besides all these things, if there any other special reason, the magistrate court may mention that reason in its order, and the bail may be granted. And the further, after 2006, it was mandatory to give an opportunity to the public prosecutor. Without hearing public prosecutor, a person will not be granted a bail. Clause second of section 437. What it is about? When you apply for bail, obviously at the time of arrest, when the person is or accused is under custody, you have to apply for bail. But if I ask you, how many times a bail application may be filed in the court? What is your answer? Can the bail application be filed once or is filed many times? If some new facts appears, suppose the bail application is filed, and suppose for a moment the bail is rejected, and the case is under investigation, and after some time some new fact appears. On the appearance of some new facts, the bail application may be filed again. It may be filed during the investigation. The first bail application obviously is filed or may have been filed at the time of after the arrest or at the time of custody. The second bail application may be filed during investigation. What is that? It is subclause 2, which talks about if it appears to such officer or court at any stage of investigation, inquiry or trial, as the case may be, that there are no reasonable grounds for believing that the accused has committed a non-bailable offense, but that there are sufficient grounds for further inquiry into his guilt, the accused shall, subject to the provision of section 446A, and pending such inquiry, be released on bail or at the discretion of such officer or court on the execution by him of a bond without surety for his appearance as hereinafter provided. If it appears to the court, because it is all about the non-bailable offense, and at some stage during the investigation, inquiry, and the trial, it appears to the court that this person is probably or this person may not have committed the non-bailable offense, in that case, the bail may be granted. Clause 3 says, when a person accused or suspected of the commission of an offense, punishable with imprisonment which may extend to 7 years, any offense where the punishment is 7 years or more, or of an offense under Chapter 6 of IPC. Chapter 6 of IPC is related to the offense against the state. Chapter 16. Chapter 16 is related to the offense against the human body. And chapter 17, all the offenses against the property. Of Indian Penal Code, or abatement of any offenses given in chapter 6, 16 and 17. Or conspiracy of any offense given in these chapters. Attempt to commit any such offense is released on bail under subsection 1. Subsection 1. The court shall impose the conditions. What are those conditions? That such person shall attend in accordance with the conditions of the bond executed under this chapter. Such person or the accused shall have to attend the court according to the conditions laid down in the bail bond. Number 2, that such person shall not commit an offense similar to the offense of which he is accused or suspected, of the commission of which he is suspected. He has to give in undertaking means in the bail bond that he will not repeat the same thing, same offense, same thing for which he is before the court right now. Third, that such person shall not be directly or indirectly make any inducement, threat, or promise to any person acquainted with the facts of the case so as to dissuade him from disclosing such facts to the court or any police officer or tamper with the evidence. These are the conditions, mandatory conditions. And may also impose, in the interest of the justice, such other conditions as it considers necessary. What does it mean? These three conditions are essential, and beside these three conditions, there may be any condition. Any condition may be imposed by the court. There is no limit. It depends on the case. It varies from case to case. Nature of the offense, type of the offender, and this covers each and everything. Such other condition as it considers necessary, as the court considered it necessary. Clause 4 of section 437, any officer of court releasing any person on bail under subsection 1 or subsection 2 shall record in writing his or its reason for special reason for so doing, which we just talked about, that despite of being those restrictions, a person may be released on bail, but other than those conditions, but for that the magistrate or the magistrate has to give the reasons, the special reasons. It just talks about subclause 4 talks about that those reasons must be written. That's all about subclause 4. Subclause 5. Any court which has released a person on bail under subsection 1 or subsection 2 may, if it considered it necessary so to do, direct that such person be arrested and commit him to custody. If once the bail is granted, that does not mean that that person is free up to the judgment or entire trial. It is up to the court. Anytime he may be committed again to the jail. It is the wisdom of the court. If it consider it necessary, if the court thinks it necessary that this accused should go again to the jail, subclause 6, which talks about if there is an offense which is tried by the magistrate court, that trial must be completed within 6 months. Sorry, 60 days. It should be completed within 60 days. But if it is not completed within 60 days, that does not mean that the accused is exonerated or the case is ended. Case will go on. But there is one change. If the trial is not completed within 60 days, in that case, there is mandatory provision of bail. That means after 60 days, if the offence is tried by the magistrate and the magistrate has not completed the trial in 60 days, in that case, the accused shall be released on bail. It is subclause 6. If in any case trial by the magistrate, the trial of a person accused of any non-bailable offence is not concluded within a period of 60 days from the first date fixed for taking evidence in the case, the such person shall, if he is in custody during the whole of the said period, be released on bail to the satisfaction of the magistrate, unless for reason to be recorded in writing, the magistrate otherwise directs. Is that clear? And the last clause, that is 7, we know when the trial is completed, the judgment is not immediately pronounced. It takes some time. It is, I think, 60 days in higher courts and 30 days in lower court. From the when the trial is ended and the judgment has not been pronounced, it has to be pronounced. And as the court, obviously, it is in the knowledge of the court. Okay. What is going to happen, or what would be the judgment? In that case, there is a provision: if the accused is under custody, the court shall release that person immediately. It is subclause 7. If any time after the conclusion of the trial of a person accused of a non-bailable offence and before judgment is delivered, the court is of opinion that there are reasonable grounds for believing that the accused is not guilty of any such offence, it shall release the accused if he is in custody on the execution by him of a bond without sureties for his appearance to hear the judgment delivered. There is only one condition, that at the date of judgment, he must come in the court. He must appear in the court. He must be before the court. It is all about section 4 37, which is very, very important. Section 437. Most of the time, the question appears from section 437. Many problems based questions on section 437. In competitive examination, so many times you will find the question on section 437. Now, section 438. Any query in section 437? Yes, please. No query? You once you must go through these sections immediately after the class. Okay.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, I want to ask something regarding exams. Sir, from the examination branch, we got a mail that the word limit should be around 250.
Hmm.
So, sir, we can exceed the word limit